Hi. For those that don't know me, I'm Virginia Walton, and I'm an executive burnout coach. Prior to starting my coaching practice, I spent 24 years in the banking and finance industry, where I worked my way from teller to small community bank to senior vice president by the time I was 38. I'd love to tell you that moving from a small community bank to a $27 billion bank and climbing the corporate ladder was easy and stress-free, but I'd be lying to you. It wasn't fancy degrees and family connections. It was hard work and long days that got me there. And I nearly burned out along the way. There were many days where I thought, wow, it'd be better to go work at Target. That is my happy place. But seriously, it almost cost me. And now I'm focused on helping other women who are on that journey up the corporate ladder get there and have even greater success than I had without burning out or dreaming of, khaki pants and red polos. So, today I titled this talk, How to Stop Missing Important Messages. So if you came here thinking, oh great, I'm going to learn a fabulous way to manage my inbox or my voicemail box. Sorry. This isn't about the messages that come from an app. I'm not talking about email, voicemail, text messages, IM, social media app messages. I don't know, there's more, right? Who can keep up with between messages and notifications on your phone? It's nonstop. But those aren't the messages I'm talking about. Those are important, some more than others. I'm talking about the ones that there is no app, that Alexa can't tell you that they're waiting for you. I'm talking the messages that come from within. Those are the ones that really matter. Especially when you're in times of trying to find a solution, whether it's for work or home or your personal life. We've all had to make a lot of decisions in the last year and a half. Were you just looking for a notification on your app? Or were you listening to your gut or your intuition, your higher power, or Mother Nature, the universe, God, angels, whatever your belief system is? They're all wonderful. Or just your own little voice on your shoulder. If you're like, I haven't heard any of those in years, that's what I'm talking about. So if you're like, I'm still not sure, let me give you an example. I've lived in my house over 20 years. The firehouse for my town is just up the street. Not that long ago, my boyfriend Brian and I got into a disagreement as to whether or not there was a sign alerting you there was a firehouse ahead. The yellow sign with the picture of the fire truck. I insisted there wasn't. He's like, there is. Obviously, a very important debate in our house. Guess who was right? You would think it would be me, because after all, I've been driving that way every day on my way to work. So thousands of times. Thousands. I drove that way. I would know if there was a sign. There's a sign. I was wrong. Now, I'm not sharing this with you because I lost the bet and my boyfriend said, oh, you have to tell the world I was right. I'm sure he appreciates that. The point is, there was a sign there to share information with me. I drove past it thousands of times and never saw it. Why? Well, one, maybe I wasn't looking for it because I knew the firehouse was there. Okay. I was on my way to work, so I was thinking about my day, drinking my cup of tea, making sure I was either setting the radio or the audiobook I was going to listen to, or double checking that, my traffic app was going to give me alerts for, congestion. But simply, what it all boiled down to, I wasn't focused. Now that should scare my neighbors because I was driving. So if you don't live near me, don't be afraid. But think about it. You probably all have signs that share information that you walk right by all day and never see. Because you're not focused. You're not paying attention. Now today I want to talk about things more important than whether or not there's a firehouse ahead. Obviously, if fire trucks are whipping out of the parking lot, you're going to hear and see it. But if you're struggling to find a solution for a major project you're working on and you can't find it, how much time are you sitting quietly? If you're struggling with a major decision in life, right? We've had a lot in the last year, and I know people who are continuing to struggle as things change and they're forced to make decisions that have serious consequences. And they're debating personal beliefs versus paychecks. That's a tough decision. Right? At some point as our parents' age, we have to make tough decisions. Life is full of them. But if you're running only to see the answers in an app or when you get a notification, you're not going to find the answers to those decisions. So how do you do it? Well, slow down. First thing, stop multitasking. Let's go back to my silly example with the fire department, a firehouse sign. I was probably doing other things other than just driving, right? Radio, tea, adjusting the heat, the air, whatever. Flipping the visor. I wasn't just focused on driving and seeing what was around me. That applies in life. I don't mean to sound cliche, but it really does. Are you looking? Are you listening to the signs around you? They're probably right there. The answers, the solutions, they're in your gut. They're coming to you. And it's not just because you Google something and then all of a sudden it shows up in your Facebook feed, the ads for that, right? Kind of the same way, but instead of using technology, use your insides, use your own intuition and knowledge. So, stop multitasking. Focus, right? Be aware. You can't focus if you're trying to do 3 things at one time. You're just going from thing to thing fast. I can't say it enough. Stop multitasking. Find some quiet time. Now, no, I'm not saying you got to sit cross-legged for hours a day chanting. I mean, realistically, who has that kind of time in today's world? But you'd be amazed. 5-10 minutes every day will make a difference. You can find 5 or 10 minutes of quiet. It's funny. I've heard it from several sources, whether it's books I read, even, my priest's homily has said it a few times. Again, this is a message that I've been listening to is we're afraid of the silence. As a society and as a culture, we can't do it. Let me share another story on that. A few years ago, I was talking to 2 colleagues. Now, my commute at the time was over 40 miles. So I typically had an hour each way in the car. These 2 colleagues, theirs were under 15. I think the one lived 7 miles from her office. And I said how some days I would just get in the car and I'd be halfway home, maybe the whole ride home. I didn't even turn on the radio. They were shocked. They looked at me like there was something wrong with me because I could sit in a quiet car by myself as I drove home for an hour, or even if it was just half the ride and it was 30 minutes. They were like, oh, I'm done. I'm home in 10 minutes and I couldn't imagine driving 10 minutes without my radio. what could you have done for yourself in that 10 minutes of quiet? I chose to do it because it was a way to kind of let go of the day. It gave me the time to help turn off the noise in my head because I had a bad habit of replaying the day, right? So this way, by the time I got home, I had left all that noise behind me. So when I got home, I was a different frame of mind. I felt lighter because I took that quiet. If we spend all of our time with either a TV on or a podcast playing or the radio on, you don't have time with your own thoughts. You're brilliant. Why wouldn't you want to spend time in your own thoughts? Since I started implementing a morning meditation and quiet time, I found again, 5-10 minutes, not hours, 5 or 10 minutes. When I first started working on it, I didn't do it every day. I was working on building a habit. It took me a couple years to get to it, a daily habit. I started to notice, though, the days that I had 5 or 10 minutes of quiet meditation, just sitting quietly before I left for work, I handled the day better. Things didn't stress me out as much. I was able to react more calmly. That makes you more efficient. The days that I didn't, my stress level was higher. I'm like, oh, there's something to this. I better make this a habit. I have found when I sit quietly for a few minutes, or as I sit and meditate, or for me, I listen to God or the universe, things come to me. I have found great solutions. The ideas for how to do things better and more efficiently in the community work I do, in my business, they come to me when I'm quiet. If there's all kinds of noise in my head and around me, how am I going to hear my own thoughts? How are you going to hear your thoughts if you never give your mind time to be heard? These things aren't hard. If you're like, I don't know where to find 5 or 10 minutes. Are you the first one up in your house in the morning? Have that first cup of coffee or tea drinker, without turning anything on. Just sit and enjoy it. You might find it tastes better because you're focused on it. You might actually get to enjoy the aroma rather than gulping as you're running around. Maybe your morning is chaotic. You and a spouse and kids are trying to get ready and get out of the house now. There's no way. Everybody's up and moving. Okay. Do you commute to work? At least a couple days a week, maybe. We're starting to go back. Once you get the kids off to school and you've got the car to yourself, don't turn the radio on. Or once you get to your destination, before you get out of the car to go into the office, sit there for a few minutes, quietly. Take some deep breaths, or just sit with your eyes closed quietly, then walk in. Especially if you had a stressful commute. This way you can leave that before you walk into your day. You're not running in like a lunatic. Trust me, I've been there, done that too. That's a horrible way to start the day. Maybe it's a few minutes at night, before you go to bed. Just sit and be still. Be quiet. Lunchtime, take a walk. Not to be checking emails, not on a conference call. Put your phone in your pocket, because I know we can't leave the house without it, self-included. Turn off the notifications, or silence it. Just walk for 10 or 15 minutes. Focus on what's around you. Even if it's in an office parking lot, there's probably some great landscaping or maybe a tree line. Take notice of the different cars. Take notice of the clouds. Just focus on what you're experiencing, what you're seeing. It makes a huge difference. I guarantee you, if you find time to slow down, you will be more efficient Let me say that again. If you slow down, stop multitasking, you will be more efficient. You will produce better quality results, solutions. You will handle the stresses that come up better during the day. You will see better quality in your work because you'll catch things that if you're rushing like a lunatic, you won't. I know it sounds counterproductive. But if you really want to focus just on doing better work, you got to find quiet time. And you'll be more efficient. You'll be less stressed. It will have a trickle effect. It all flows. Trust me. It's okay. And if you don't have to tell anybody, listen, you sit in silence in the car on the way home. Then you don't have to have the experience I had where they looked at me like I was some sort of weird creature. And if they did, so what? Gives you a great example to share with somebody else. So yeah, trust me, it does make a difference. It's not about spending hours a day chanting, meditating, doing yoga, meditation. Those are all great things. And if you have hours, awesome. But you're probably not listening to me if you have that kind of time. So start small. Make a commitment. 5 minutes a day. Make it a habit. And if you're like, I've tried, but I've not succeeded, or I don't know how to do that. I seriously don't know where I'd find 5 minutes in my day. Let's talk. I'm here to help. It can be done. Trust me, I've been in your shoes where you were running like a crazy person from one meeting to the next. During my quiet time this morning, I thought of the great analogy of, when we were in high school, we were given, 3 to 5 minutes probably for the passing of classes, right? You had time to get from one class to the next class. Yet in corporate America, pre-pandemic, when we were physically in offices all the time for all of our meetings, you had to move from conference room to conference room or to somebody else's office and so forth. We didn't give each other time for the passing of class. We didn't give each other time. We ran every meeting up to the end of hour and started the next one right on the hour. So everything was either rushed at the end and you're trying to duck out early to get to the next, or you're late to the next. It's insanity. Slow down. Put a break in. If you're the one scheduling a meeting, end it 5 minutes early. Make a commitment. It's Tuesday. For the rest of the week, end every conference call, every meeting, 5 minutes before the end time to give yourself and everybody in that time to get to the next one. Time to take a few breaks, a few breaths. And go. Because if you can stop and refocus before your next topic, it's going to be more effective. You're going to be more efficient. So, if you don't know where to start, seriously, let's chat. I'm here to help you. I don't want to see anybody else burn out or not succeed because they burned out or didn't know how to get out of their own way. I've been there. I don't want anybody else to experience that. So, check out my website, virginiawalton.com. Drop me a comment or message me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And remember, maybe you didn't need to hear this right now, but a friend of yours might. So by sharing this video, you might be helping someone more than you realize. With that, be well, and we'll talk soon.